later, the clock's ticking. If you tied up all your loose ends, tips on time management. You may be surprised at some of the advice. Things to do in too little time. Sound familiar? If you think writing an email while speaking on the phone, while trying to talk to your neighbor makes you more efficient, well, you may be surprised at what our next guest has to say. Tricia Scudder is the president of Executive Coach Group. It's a firm that helps managers become better time managers. Tricia, I'm sorry, we only have a short amount of time, so we're going to make this fast. Welcome to the Flip Side.
Thank you.
And I want you to especially speak to people. You know, a lot of us aren't managers. In the news business, we are just constantly running. We have lots to do. It seems like we never have time. We have lots of deadlines. So we do get stuff done, but I think lots of times many of us feel scattered and we're not getting things done. And at the end of the day, you go to sleep thinking, geez, I better try tomorrow to get it done.
That's right. And plus, we all have lives as well as our work. So how do you add that as well? Well, we've got a new approach that upends a lot of the traditional thinking about productivity and time management. For example, most time management courses that you might take, they assume that if you could just work harder, if you could just go into the office earlier, if you could just give up your health, don't exercise, don't talk to your family, then you can get it all done. And our starting point is that you're never going to get it all done. And when you really face that you're never going to get it all done, then now, what am I going to say no to? What are my choices? Who's running my life anyway?
This is the famous prioritize, isn't it?
Yeah, but not prioritize A, B, C, 1, 2, 3 like that. Prioritize like I'm going to do it or I'm never going to do it. And it might have been a happy thought or a great idea or a dream of mine, but facing I'm never going to do it.
You know, my problem is every time I sit down with a lot of things, I think, you know, I can't even start because I'm so overwhelmed by the number of tasks that are on my desk.
And this is a woman who just wrote a book and got it published, by the way, so don't take that entirely seriously.
Well, I almost didn't get that done because I was so freaked out about the list of things. It's just intimidating.
Well, what happens, and maybe this happened to you, is when we look at it, it looks like a whole mountain. It looks like, how can I even get started on chipping away at this? But there are a couple of suggestions. One is 15 minutes. We think that's not much time. 15 minutes is a lot of time. So if you want to, say, organize your office or get rid of clutter in your home, one baby step that you can take is just every day say, I'm going to declutter for 15 minutes a day. And start on one room or one section of your office and set a time. It's more fun if you set a timer and you sort of beat the clock. And then for those 15 minutes, don't sit down because you'll get interested in something. And for 15 minutes, toss. You see, clutter, it's another illusion. We think clutter can be organized. Clutter has to be tossed away.
We should take her to Myron Candel's office.
Oh, is it bad?
But that's interesting though. Clutter can't be organized. I actually have gotten rid of some clutter, but I have more clutter to get rid of. Don't I have some papers I want to file, a bill that I need to pay, something that's in there that I need?
So maybe 15% of it.
Okay.
But most of it you can toss. You know, have you ever put things away for a party and
year later
the bag sits there and God, I did fine without it.
Now, I always feel like I am never 100% on anything, which is why I have so much clutter. You know, I'm in the middle of doing something and I put it aside and I'm going to get back to that and then I'm doing something else. And so this is the current pile of clutter and this is, you know, what does that say about me that I never actually finish something before I'm jumping into the next thing?
Well, that's another illusion and it's very popular right now. Multitasking will be in a car, on the phone, talking to a client, taking care of a child, putting on makeup and driving at the same time. Whoa, dangerous. What we've discovered, and this has to do with studies of time management and observing business managers, is the multitasking actually ends up you're doing 4 things poorly. It is old-fashioned to say this, but it's much better for your peace of mind as well as your productivity if you actually focus on one thing and you can complete it. And think, in business, we don't operate alone. We're talking to a customer or to a client or a coworker or we're talking to a loved one at home. If we can be there 100% with that person, without all this distraction and be there 100%, that's going to be more satisfying and lead to a better result and give us peace of mind. You know, maybe life isn't about just doing more, maybe it's about peace of mind.
Well, you know, I'm surprised to hear you say that because everybody always says just the opposite. And I keep thinking if I could just find an entire morning, an entire day to get this stuff done, I could do that whole mountain would just go away. Am I thinking about this the right way?
What's that Beatles song, 8 days a week? You know?
Well, you can't, well, first of all, you can't get it all done. So that whole mountain, you need to divide some of it into, I'm never going to do it. Tell yourself and tell other people involved that that's not going to, you're making a new promise. You're not going to do that. The other is that if these things are important to you, they need to show up in your calendar. I'll bet when you were writing that book that you were scheduling time to write that. Otherwise, life intrudes and the day's gone. Did you have
I
to schedule
absolutely scheduled my time. But, you know, it would, you know, I'd find that I only had 15 minutes maybe to get something done. And it just didn't seem like enough to attack a problem. I knew I couldn't complete the whole task, so I wouldn't even start.
Well, the baby steps. We need to be forgiving of ourselves and patient with ourselves that 15 minutes on decluttering the office, or an hour every day writing that book, or even a half an hour.
You're making me think of something though, Tricia. What about a schedule? Now, most of us kind of have a casual schedule, not written down. I get up around this time. By this time, I should have this done. By this point, I should leave the house. By this time, I should be sitting down. Does that have a role in our lives? Is that kind of what you're saying when you're talking about a calendar, or is that another outmoded idea that traps us?
It's definitely a schedule. Now, the resistance that some people may have to this, you think, well, where's the spontaneity, or I don't want to be rigid. You need to approach this, that who's the author of this? You're the author of this. And having a schedule frees you to end up with the life that you love, the life that you want, the one that you've created, rather than other people's demands or emergencies filling your day. So I am a strong believer in a calendar or a schedule. For example, you know, if you're married or you're in a relationship, having that one night a week that's a date, you know, with your spouse. Otherwise, life is going to intervene, and you never get time alone together. Many couples, after they do this program with us, this mission control program, they set aside Friday night or Saturday night or even Sunday night as their date night.
Tricia Scudder from the Executive Coaching Group. Is there a book coming out on this?
It's a good idea. I'll have to schedule it.
Yay! Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.